All right. Here is my crackpot plan here. So I guess these are the goals of my plan: getting jacked, getting strong, uh, getting in good shape in regards to body composition. Bit chubby right now. I've got a big cut ahead of me. I'm about a week into it now. Uh, and I imagine it'll take at least until the new year, probably more, probably a lot more, but um, we'll see where I'm at in a few months. Uh, give my joints some relief. Uh, I have elbow tendonitis, um, or tendinosis. I guess tendinosis is inflammation, and tendonitis is like actual damage. So I'm assuming it's tendinosis. Um, because it goes away. Uh, I think they just get inflamed and then they chill out. So, um, I also have like ankle. I don't want to say ankle problems, like per se, but I've been getting a little bit of. I think I have like a some kind of either strain or nerve compression thing in the peroneus, my right peroneal area. I don't know, the right side, the outside of my right calf. Whatever. I'm not a doctor. Um, I think that's due to ankle mobility, not necessarily being bad, but I think I've been pushing it like how do I say? Been putting the cart before the horse in terms of my technique. So I've been putting a little bit of stress on my ankles, and that's what's causing this. Like, it's just like a little niggling thing in the right side of my calf here, and then looking cool. Always want to look cool. Lifting weights. I think that's why everyone lifts weights, is to look cool, even if it's just it doesn't have to be for other people, but it's nice to look cool. So let's see here. Here is the plan itself. So for at least for the time being, most likely permanently, I'm gonna switch to high bar in heels. Um, Definitely keeping the heels for now. The heels have mm, eliminated the ankle problem. Knock on wood. Um, well, when I squat in heels, I'm not getting the pain in my calf that I'm getting when I'm squatting in flats. Um, so that's yeah. Close grip bench. I'm already doing that. I was already doing that before my last meet. Well, what's a close grip? It's not like bodybuilder close where it's like you're starting to get hands on the smooth part, but it's fairly by powerlifting standards, it's very close. Um, and conventional deadlift, I'm already doing that. Um, Lowering frequency just to give my joints some time to chill out a bit. Um, yeah, and then dropping 2 weight classes down to 83 kilos. So high bar squat. Why I'm switching to high bar, at least for the time being. Like I said, most likely permanent, but I don't know. I'm a wishy-washy person in general, so when I say might be permanent, who actually freaking knows? Um, yeah, why am I doing this? It's easier on the elbows, like because when the bar is higher up, there's less demand on shoulder flexibility. Um, and because of that, if the demand on shoulder flexibility is high, then if let's say your shoulders aren't flexible enough, other joints are going to start taking over, right? Or like dealing with the strain. In my case, it's my elbows. Some people get wrist pain. elbows. Some people get shoulder pain from squats too. Like, and this is not a, I could go wider with the grip, obviously, but I'm already fairly wide. So yeah, this is just easier on the elbows. In my last video, I talked about how high bar squats might be a little bit easier to recover from because you're not using as much a lever. Like your back's not as much of a lever in the high bar squat, so there's less fatigue there. This will also be a good experiment to see if my theories are correct. Yeah, it's not completely unfounded theories, but you know, I think most of the guys who like squat really often are squatting high bar. I'm thinking like Olympic lifters. I'm thinking, I think like Olympic lifters. They're doing some kind of squat like probably every training. I don't know much about Olympic lifting. I shouldn't have brought it up. But they're doing some kind of squat pattern, right? Even if it's just catching, that's still a squat. But they're not doing low bar. Generally, I'm sure there's some, but I can't think of any. And then, bringing up the quads and upper back, which I would say are my two biggest weaknesses. Definitely upper back. Quads, yeah, maybe. I think I'm definitely like incredibly glute dominant. So like comparatively, I have weak quads. That doesn't necessarily mean that I have like, holy shit, my quads are weak, but compared to my glutes just take over completely. So, and because of the higher range of motion is gonna bring up the quads more, and just even if I'm not lifting more numbers, hopefully it'll get me stronger. And then it looks cooler. That's kind of debatable. But there's pictures of like dudes who are just perfectly upright. Like freaking, I got Hack in this picture, who's the man. It just looks cool. Maybe it's just cool that it's like, oh, this guy's squatting high bar, even though low bar is technically better. Technically allows you to lift more weight. So, yeah. Close grip. I already do this. But yeah, more range of motion. Once again, so like better for development. If we're the thing is like the like arch maxed. I don't know, like I call it like a IPF style bench. Everyone benches like that nowadays, I guess. Well, within varying degrees, right? But it's not very good for development because there's limited range of motion, really. To me, it seems like a lot more like a technique and mobility exercise than a developmental exercise, and I don't think a lot of people are gonna disagree with that, because a lot of people are like, oh, bench is bad for you can't build muscle. What are you benching to build muscle? What are you, stupid? What are you, an idiot? And it's like, but then they're benching like just to get the most weight on the bar rather than benching developmentally. But the last thing with the close grip, I have really strong triceps comparatively. If I have any, I'm not gifted at the sport. But if I have anything, it's glutes and triceps. They just I never isolate my triceps, and I have no problem ever with anything tricep related. So yeah, doing that, I think I'm putting myself in a good position to like take advantage of my strengths, not necessarily, work on my weaknesses, but take advantage of my strengths and get stronger. Yeah, lower frequency, easier on the joints, and then I'm taking some time off of like quote unquote powerlifting. Like, I don't know, because I powerlifting's all I care about. I don't really care about bodybuilding. I don't care about physique in terms of how I look. Within reason. Like I care, but I'm not like oh, my arms are small. Whatever. Um, that doesn't really like affect me. Like my arms are small compared to my delt. I don't have any aesthetic goals per se. Just it's nice to look good, but not I think competing in bodybuilding is not worth my time. I don't have the frame for it, so I don't really care. Maybe that's sour grapes, but whatever. And then last thing here is going down a couple weight classes. This is me in the right picture at my latest meet. I am overweight, a little bit chubby. I didn't quite fill out 100 kilos. I was 215. I don't know what that 97 kilos at the meet. Yeah. So I definitely noticed a little bit like it was harder for me to get into position for deadlifting. I don't have a big gut, but I have a little bit of a gut, and it was kind of getting in the way of me setting my back properly. So it's nice to be able to set my back properly. I don't think it would have affected me as much with sumo. Maybe it would have been more because my arms would have been like running into my stomach. But whatever. I pull conventional. Doesn't matter. And you can see I have narrow shoulders. I don't. So this chart has kind of bugged me out for a long time. Cause I'm 5'9", barely. Like I'm maybe like 69.0 inches. So according to this chart, I should be 220, which that's at least for right now is too heavy for me. I think it's affecting my work capacity. I'm getting gassed out at the gym. I could be doing more cardio, stuff like that. I won't blame it all on my weight because there's guys who are heavier than me that have good work capacity. So, but there's no reason for me to be this chunky, at least right now. But yeah, this chart is kind of like bugged me out because I'm this is Boris is the guy, is Shaco the man. I call him Boris like we're on a first name basis or whatever. But I this is for elite competitors. And I think this is a common problem is like we look at elite competitors and we think this is what I should be doing because these guys are the best. And a lot of times that makes sense, right? Like you want to be doing what the best people are doing, but also you got to realize like these are the most gifted, or at least the most gifted, or they've just been doing it the longest, right? So when I'm thinking, what weight class should I be in? I would be fairly, a lot leaner at in the 83s. And I think that would be advantageous to me. I'm not a big guy. I'm not predisposed to being a big guy. I don't, on the other hand, I don't want to say things like I have bad genetics or I'm not gifted, because who knows, right? It's made up stuff. It's not made up, but it's like not it's unimportant. I don't want to pigeonhole myself and say that I'm not gifted at the sport or whatever because we just don't know, right? I haven't been doing it long enough. And it could be that I have longevity, whatever. I'll be better in a lighter weight class, like if I can keep my strength, now, I'll be doing okay in the lighter weight class. So I don't know. But the point I'm trying to say is that the chart is for the best of the best, you know. Maybe it's even, I mean, it's not like the Russians are afraid of doping either, you know. So it's like maybe if it's a good weight class if you're on some gas, you know. Um, I don't know. That helps, right? I'm not saying that every guy who's 5'8" or 5'9" and 220 is on gas, but yeah, I John Hack when he was in USAPL, he was 83. Um, I mean, and now that he's on gear, he's only competing in 90. So I don't think this chart. This is just me. This chart has caused me a lot of like mulling things over and being like very anxious. Like, oh man, I'm not. Why am I only this weight? And then all this other stuff like there's no weight classes in the jungle, or an adult male weighs 200 pounds. Uh, just caused me to get too ahead of myself. So, yep, right on.